Well, I'm trying out a new spot, and well, the river is back behind me. And, uh, this is a pretty nice bench out here, covered up, little covering. Uh, Two or three other little picnic areas. It's next to an RV park, so I figured that's probably somewhere around where these other people was walking from. I saw earlier, parked on the other side of the highway. Uh, Now, of course, I know this was here. Uh, but I still don't know how well I'm gonna like the idea of being here, woods and stuff in the background. Interesting enough, that does lead me to the concept of not having to run the 4K video. There's no reason for it. You can see me well enough. It reminds me of the story I was going to tell when I thought about it. It was one of the Family Guy episodes, and a lot of people can say, "Wow, that's a horrible show." You got to look at a lot of these shows and things, Simpsons and Family Guy. These people wrote some of this stuff were pretty much educated with society things. And South Park's the same way. There's a lot of truth in what they say and do. Sometimes it's always things that Peter Griffin would do that we just would probably do, but not do. But at the same time, we could probably say, that would be something I would totally do on one of my stupid, crazy days. Uh, but we can watch how it plays out with someone else doing it. Um, I'm going to tell you, this is relatively comfortable here, and so I can actually sit here for a minute, I guess, read some of the scriptures and talk some more. Like I say, I like the idea of traveling around more, going different places, but at the same time, I've got to push the message out. So the idea of, I was going to tell you on the Family Guy, in the 4K, everybody, there was a news lady, and we'll always find this pretty newswoman, young newswoman, almost any news channel a lot of times, there's going to be a pretty woman. And so the news people were going to broadcast in the 4K format, the high quality. And everybody's excited. You think everybody went out and bought the new TVs and everything. And the 4K comes out that evening, and everybody's ready to watch it. And they got the 4K video live broadcast of this woman, and showed such great detail. The woman wasn't as pretty as they kind of imagined. And finally, the camera people at the news station cut the feed, and they're like, "Well, tell you what, this is brought to you in 4K for the first time, and the last time we will bring this to you in 4K." So I think about that a lot. Seeing me in 4K. I believe I said something earlier on one of the videos about the technology. We run 8K, and I think that TV was 65 inch maybe, and it was like $3,000. So I don't know what these people are doing. Got a truck, always a sense of privacy. Try to do my videos, but people do find their way. So I don't know. They don't seem to have a boat or anything. They just seem to be parked. I don't. I look like I think some kids or something involved, kind of facing the wrong direction. I guess maybe they're gonna go down the river and go fishing. Sound like a good plan. Yeah. There's a fishing boat. So as I say, I'm out in public, and it's good to get out, get air. They call it cabin fever to get inside, so that's why I do so many videos out, for the lighting, for other reasons. Now I do get upset when people come. I try to find some place that's out and about public, but at the same time I need something more private to get my videos and get my discussions. And I try to find that, and sometimes I don't find that, and that kind of interrupts everything. I don't want to edit people out. I don't want to have to have discussions that or people come in on my camera because they're not they're not asked of permission. I don't know about these people who go out and video film everybody, out in public. I guess it's expected to be filmed in public. If you're out in public, it would just be accepted. But I'd rather just, my YouTube videos and my videos don't have to worry about any violation of somebody's privacy as far as video. I think there's a lot of things to be said about public photography because they say it doesn't violate anybody because you're seeing them just the same as you would be on camera. You have the right to run a video camera in public or do a video. If they're out in public and you're out in public, legality say you can do what you can. So anyway, I've got a few minutes and I wanted to do another one of my messages. And I was trying to think which message I could do, and which one would be kind of quick. Now let's message. All my messages kind of ramble because I'm sitting here and I'm looking through it, and I've got that SSL error that one day somebody's going to fix. But maybe at the same time, if I had a newer tablet, I might not have this problem. But then when I can get around it by clicking on something else, like YouVersion of the Bible, and it works. It comes back to my last message on money. It's not necessary. I don't know how many more of these videos I'm going to do. I feel I had the guidance of God to say, look, go do this. I said in the first video, I said on Baptist is my background. I am a Christian. And I feel that it was God's will for me to do these videos, maybe help people, not just. And then with that, I said, well, I need to get scripture in here because my thoughts and my ramblings sometimes might not be important enough. God's word is what I'm supposed to be speaking of. So I can ramble and speak all I want, but I need to make sure God has His say, His moment. And once I've done this, it's fine. God calls me with each one. I think about it every day, and the notes go in my head. On my phone, I write notes of what I want to talk about. And I might ramble on, but the general message kind of gets put in this video somewhere. And I say, if it's got the right scriptures, the right time, you take note of the time, and when you share it, tell this person, hey, I'm sharing this video. Don't just send people a link. They never watch that necessarily. But when you send the link, put a separate message. Say, hey, I'm about to send you this link to this YouTube video. This man, you go over there to 2 minutes and 48 seconds, and he tells you, he reads this scripture in the Bible, or he speaks of his opinion on this, and that's just one more to add to. Somebody else on this internet's going to have their opinions and their ideas. That's fine. The more opinions and ideas you have, it will probably build up a collective, something to work with. I think, well, what am I going to speak on? And so, like I say, these ideas come to my head throughout the day, throughout the weeks, between videos, and some of them came before it, and I just haven't had a chance to sit down and make a video. I'm always on the move, it seems like. Anyway, today, in this moment, in this video, we're going to do I'd say a quicker one. Probably won't last very long. But the note and idea that comes to mind was that song was Horrible Little Girl. and I kind of laugh at it because it sounds like a really strange message, really strange title for the message, and it's like, what is this? What is this idea? What's this note? And it's about where have we gone? I say where have we gone wrong because you listen to social media and you watch videos and you walk through society, down the streets, and you go to the restaurants and you go to the stores and you're out in public and you see this, and you see this concept of of people, and they're upset, they're arguing, they're they're not happy with each other, and they're disrespecting each other. Some disagreements, some problems, um, something, something's wrong. And I know the hardest thing to do that I had to teach myself to do. You represent the company, so I'm going to be mad at you, but you are not that person who made that mistake. The key to success is finding the person that made the mistake. Sometimes you find them, sometimes they admit to it, sometimes they don't. That's why you get in trouble dealing with things like Walmart and big corporations. But sometimes they'll make things right. Now, don't say I'm blaming Walmart, because sometimes Walmart make things right. You got an individual that won't. I've heard, some individuals, when things go wrong, they never do anything to help you. And sometimes, a manager at some of these bigger stores, they can. They say, look, we're here for the customer. We'll help you with this. It's a mistake. We'll fix it. Then you got other people say, well, this is what happened. This is, I'm not going to give you money back. And you know this thing didn't work, and you sold it to me. These problems that you find, such as a used car salesman, for example. I think it's kind of interesting. One time I was watching this TV show, and they said, "Oh, this is crazy." And they said, "Well, how do you refer to it as crazy? Is it a used car salesman crazy, or is it a mattress salesman crazy?" So, but anyway, so I want to get to this point of this message here, called "Little Girl." That song was horrible. Who are we? Let's say, we refer to little girl. I guess we could refer to a teenager girl. I wouldn't refer to her as an adult, but I would say, let's say she's 8 years old. Let's say, and I think we can even say that song was horrible to a little child, to a young boy, under the age of 10. But I think sometimes we respect, supposed to have more, have a little more feelings to the younger girls, even up to teenage years. But you got to think about what I'm saying. This little girl, or this child, but I when the message came to me, the message idea came to me as being, about a little girl. She got up there and she sang, and or she got up and danced, or did something, something that she was proud of herself for doing, something she tried hard at doing, we're not relating just to, little girl, this song was horrible, related to little girl, that was horrible. What is this? Do we say this to some do? Some people are horrible people because you say that to some little girl, some little innocent child. You said, "Oh, that was horrible." No, I don't think so. I think we have a little more attitude, but we expect it as teenagers. We expect it as, let's say we do go on past teenage years. We expect it to have a different attitude. We expect to say, "Little girl," or as they say, I've heard some older men that really makes women mad. They call them Little Missy, Little Missy, and that's degrading downright quick. To calling them a child or little no count. But that's derogatory. It's in the wrong nature. It's usually a Little Missy when there's a conflict or a problem. But the objective goal is, you tell a little girl, your words, though that song is horrible. You haven't encouraged her. You haven't helped her. Now, can you tell her she shouldn't be singing? No, she's a child. Will she get better? Maybe. But, when I ask for opinions, are we supposed to lie about it? Probably. When it comes to a little girl, because we're trying to help people with their feelings. So you need to keep that in mind when you're dealing with a little store clerk girl. She's got pretty much the same little feelings that little girl has. And so what are you going to do when you tell that little girl? Maybe you won't see it personally, but you tell a little girl her song was horrible. That was horrible. Well, she's out trying. These people are out trying. And you tell them it's horrible. It's horrible. you mistreat that girl, and she goes back in the break room and cries her eyes out, you're responsible for that. I'm telling you, you are responsible. But oh no, they couldn't fix the problem. You know, you talk to a person and you get angry with them because they cannot fix the problem. What have you done after the first 10 seconds, 15 seconds? You made it clear to them there's a problem. They've tried to fix it. Now, some of these girls don't take it serious. Some of these boys don't take it serious. I'm not going to say just girls. Some of these kids don't take it serious. Well, then you have to start looking for somebody who does. Oh, the manager. Well, the manager's not any older than they are. Well, what do you do in those situations? You get on social media and you blast them. No, not necessarily a good idea. But that's going to happen. You're going to get on social media and you're going to tell people, which is good because you're going to tell people, hey, that store don't have their act together. Not much we can do about it. That's the deal, though. Don't go back there. Go back because they've set their reputation. And, but the point is, don't waste your time because you've got to do you. I've told you that many times. Stay away from these places you have to argue with. Stay away from these places that dug you wrong. Now we got these restaurants that give you the chance to go back and get it right. So maybe they will. And second chances, everybody gives second chances sometimes. Nothing wrong with that. But in the moment, don't go back. This is your moment. You're spending too much time worrying about what's happening with a place that has already done you wrong once. You've already had problems, and you've got to go there. Now, theoretically, I know people are stubborn, they call it, and they say, well, I'm just not going back to that store, so I'm going all the way across town, or I'm going over to the next town over. We're lucky enough, we have the internet now, we can order a lot of stuff in. And I do realize that you cannot tell somebody, well, I'm not coming back to the store ever again. That is not a valid threat. That is not of any use. They have other customers coming in. I don't think you're going to shut them down. They probably don't own the store. They probably just work there and they'll go find another job. And then of course you threaten, oh, I can't come in there. I won't come in here anymore. Well, you're just blowing off steam because what happens tomorrow when you need something in the store? Don't be totally, against something. Don't burn all the bridges, but just have the attitude, I'm not happy with those people. I don't like going in there. I'm not going in there. Keep your business simple, and expect what you expect out of the store. But don't get yourself upset. Don't put yourself out saying, well, I'll never shop at the store again, and make it too inconvenient. But just make a balance. You got to balance your life out between the two of what is okay to say and do, and what is your problem. These problems are created. They go home at night. They might go to bed and sleep, and you're awake at night. I wrote more than one message about what keeps you awake at night. I wrote it. I said it. What keeps you awake at night? Fix it, all this stuff. And, some things can't be fixed, but it's not necessary to fix it. I think I put that in the message also, but keep in mind, just patch it. Just patch it enough to do what you need to do. But whatever you do, make sure that it gives you peace of mind. It doesn't put you out. You can't worry about other people. That's part of the problem. But at the same time, you don't do any good because you've told somebody who doesn't know what they're doing or is no more intelligent or no more on a maturity level. Let's put this clear. No more probably on a maturity level than a little girl, a little 4-year-old. So when you go out in society, these people, their maturity levels are 4-year-olds. Now, I'm not saying all of them are like that, but that's what you got to have the attitude. But you're out there, you're killing yourself in this stress and everything else, and staying awake at night. And you little 4-year-old girl, guess what? They rambunctious, and they run around. Even children do that, but they go to bed, they go to sleep sometimes. Sometimes their conscience is not the same. But it's not about their conscience, it's about your conscience. And of course, you feel better when you've gotten revenge, but I'll tell you that I've spoke of that one too. The message on revenge, talking about win or lose, you always lose. I mean, you can't get too much revenge and feel like you're okay. But your best revenge is to give somebody else your business, but never say I'm gonna give someone else my business, because I don't think that means much to them. But it's just better that you do that. You say it's your best revenge. It's best revenge to yourself, because you find somebody who works with you and does better. So it's kind of difficult though. It's like I always supposed to have a scripture, and I always think, well, what am I going to do for a scripture? What am I going to do to back this up? And let's see. I think there's one in here about in the Bible. It's about arguing with a fool. Argue with a fool quote. Here's the Bible, actually. Let's see. Well. I think this is it. What does the Bible say to argue with a fool? Oh. That's interesting enough. There is a scripture right here. And this is reformwiki.com versus arguing. But anyway, you can read this. This is Proverbs 23:9, and it says, "Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of thy words." So that's probably, I don't know if that's exactly what I'm referring to as far as the concept of letting things go and not arguing with somebody who's immature. But it's similar, and it's pretty close. It is Bible. It's, speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise wisdom as thy word. And that comes to trying to tell somebody how to do their job. Oh, that's another thing you can do. Try to tell somebody how to do their job. They're not going to like it. See, there's some other thing about a foolish man down here. This is in Proverbs 14. So it says, "Stay away from a foolish man, for you will not find knowledge in his lips. Wisdom of the prudent is to give thought to their ways, but the folly of fools is deception. Fools mock at making amends for sin, but goodwill is found among the upright." So I guess they're saying kind of fools that people, fools and people are out for themselves. Don't worry about them. Let's see, there's another one, Proverbs 26:4. If I can get it to open here. Let's see here. Now this is down here in Christianity.com. Let's see who wrote this here. It's Dolores Crosswalk, contributing writer. Why are we to never argue with a fool? The Bible is a multi-layered book that reveals profound truth about how we are to relate to God and how we are to relate to each other. It's also a book about common sense. When it comes to telling us what to do when we're embroidered in an argument with people who simply reject the truth and understanding, the Bible gives us a wise tip: stop trying to reason with a fool. That's what we're going to run into in society. These employees, these people working. And sometimes we run across them on the street, but generally we're going to run across them because they're in a business and we have to do business there. In particular, Proverbs tells us, "Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him." We as people, we have a habit of doing that too. We don't want to argue the fool. I think I do that all the time. Sometimes it's just in our nature to debate and argue and try to explain why we're right when another person's wrong. But they're a fool. that's what I'm saying. You waste too much of your time. There's so many other things we can be doing. Of course, I'd always be told, you're always on your phone, you're always on the phone. So we're going to not argue with the fool, so we can spend more time on our phone. I don't know. But that's about spending more time doing what we're doing. Unless we're on our phone on social media arguing with the fool. So, find something to do. Find something better. So, Now it's interesting too. It is down here in Proverbs 10:23. In his baseness, the fool delights in doing wrong, and promotes immorality, lies, and conflict with his own home. I think that's what we call stirring up trouble. Always stirring something up. Not surprising, the fool's actions ultimately cause the downfall of relationship with others and God. Well, there it is right there. That's Proverbs 9:12. But you stir up things. It's pretty bad when you stir up things in your own household like that. But they say you're a fool. My husband's a fool. I married him. Well, you're a fool too. That's a common saying. You're both fools. But certain things you just when you're the one who's arguing with a fool, I don't know. Marriage is a whole different mess. It's a family situation. We can get a whole nother scripture, a whole nother message on that. But so this is what I always say. Well, I'm just going to know I'm right and shut up, not say anything else. It gets tough. Sometimes it's solutions. I don't know. I'm supposed to have solutions. Yes, sure. I'm supposed to be able to answer everything here. I'm Brother Bob, and I'm supposed to read the Bible. So is the preacher, the pastor. The preacher is a little different than the pastor. The preacher gets up there and speaks out of the Bible. I consider myself a preacher, preaching. But to be a pastor, you listen to people, and you counsel with people, and you try to help them. Onlookers might not be able to tell which is which. It's interesting. You become like the company you keep. You argue and throw fits all the time. You're gonna be like that. Then it says, however, in situations where the fool is publicly denying the existence of God and to stir up conflicts with others, the Bible says the fool deserves to be corrected for his folly, though. See, now that's interesting because we can just sit here and think about that. If I was arguing these scriptures, the Bible, things like that. But some of these people stir up conflict about the Bible, don't know the Bible. Then again, I'm going to tell you, the atheists know more about the Bible than a lot of us do. But they just chose not to believe in God, not to believe in Jesus. So let's see here. It doesn't really say much about what to do if you're in a relationship with a fool. If it's a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, you have the chance to find your way out of it. It's probably best that you find your way out of it, but we as people get used to being with somebody. We can't be alone. A lot of people go back home to their parents because they have loving parents, a loving family to help deal with the transition. But sometimes you don't have anywhere to go, and that's bad. That's very bad when you created a relationship with somebody, a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. You don't have anywhere to go. Creating a marriage is a little more stubborn because it's a legality bond. That's why some people don't ever want to get married. So you got to look at the fact, what do I do? What do I do? I married a fool. Well, I think you kind of knew what you got into. There's probably some good things about this person. So they probably make some foolish decisions. We'll go back to Peter Griffin and the Family Guy. He makes some idiotic decisions. And I think we have to accept, I try to accept my situations, that one day I'm going to make a mistake. Sometimes, now is cheating a mistake? Yes, that's part of security, comfort, relationship. can't say, "Oh, I made a mistake. I cheated." No, yeah, I guess you made a mistake, but you did it. That becomes a whole other problem. Statistics said one time 62% of people forgave their significant other of cheating and continued with a marriage. That's a good marriage, or continue with a relationship. I think everybody accepts bad things happen, mistakes happen. I wouldn't say cheating is necessarily a mistake because you kind of choose to cheat. But these women like the power trip, and sometimes men like the idea of thinking they could still have it with women too. I'm not going to say just women. Men want to feel like that they still have their, they call it game. They still have their, interest. That they're not old. It's some of this midlife crisis stuff more so. They won't feel old and worthless, like they have no benefit. They want to think that people still love them. People still have feelings for them, and or that their life's interesting. Your wife don't want to hear about your life anymore. Don't hear about your problems, but there's this woman. She wants to hear all about it because she's all into you. That's a power trip sometimes. She knows you got a husband, a wife. She knows that, and she knows that she is the dominating woman of your life right now. And that's why she knows also she can threaten to tell your wife and say, "Oh, I need this." Oh, it comes to money. It comes to many things that benefits her. Men is, say, well, I know she's got a husband. Most times men are just in it for a lot of the physical side of it. They want to feel like they still have some personality that attracts women. They are, God's gift to women. So, anyway, so I would say that you probably didn't get in a relationship with a fool. You got in a relationship with somebody who does foolish things sometimes. You should be able to look past that and just accept the situation as it is. Of course, I'm supposed to say, "Oh, you can never get divorced. You can never," well, it happens. That's what people do. You find out more about the person. There was a deal one time when they spoke of what the legitimate reasons are to dissolve a marriage. They call it annulment for legality reasons. They said that if you had known this about that person before you married them, you would have never married them. In other words, they kept a secret from you. It's something that you just couldn't live with. That could be a lot of things. Something that they probably should have told you, but they didn't. Maybe they killed somebody. That's probably one of the strongest ones. Or that they had a bad drug addiction, and that they may relapse. It's like you've had family that had bad drug addictions, and you don't want to be with that person who has that kind of addictive personality that knows that one day you'll be with this person, and they will go off with their friends. That this person has relapsed multiple times, and you got with them, and all of a sudden, maybe they've been clean and sober for a few weeks. All of a sudden, you worry that tomorrow and the next day they're going to all of a sudden, relapse because it's in their personality. That becomes a whole other situation also. Is people who continue to relapse on their drugs and alcohol. There was a person one time who said, what we do is we fight every time you relapse. Every time you go back into drugs and alcohol is just as bad. I didn't know that for a long time. They always hear about drugs, and I think alcohol, people could relate to how they can drink it and never hurt them. But other people drink alcohol and it's worse than a drug. And when they come off of it, they detox from it just as bad. It's tough on people. Alcohol can be rough. And there's people who know it. So we gotta keep in mind. Somebody says they're an alcoholic. You gotta recovering alcoholic. You gotta support them. It's like, oh, you just didn't throw the beer down last night. Say I'm done. No, you gotta be proud of those people too. Say, look, tomorrow. A preacher once told me, he said, my pastor, he said, at the time, he said, when it comes to that, he said, we're about 1 hour, we're about 2 hours, we're about 5 hours, we're about 8 hours, we're about the day, we're about 2 days, we're about a week, we're about a month. That's what we're about reaching. Not these big 50-year goals, 20-year goals. We're about each month. And I learned one person one time jokingly said, yeah, and apparently it's true that that 20-year sobriety coin, they take a lot of bars as a free drink. Get you started again. What a deal. So, anyway, I'll give you a little scripture on stuff. But you gotta go out each day in society, and think about taking care of you more so. These educational self-helps, I told you in the Bible, they're supposed to help guide you, help you with things. Maybe it's a new perspective. Say, look, I never thought of that. Hey, this person's a 4-year-old. This person's a child. Yeah, they're physically. You can physically grow up easily because it's going to happen. You're left on a desert island somewhere, shipwrecked. You're a child old enough to eat berries, food, and stuff. They're going to grow up physically, but the immaturity of that child is still there. And sometimes we get angry with children too, I guess, and tell them just you're not going to argue with them no more. Well, you don't get angry, shout at them necessarily, but you just make it clear. That's what we're going to do with some of our stress in society. We're going to make it clear to these people, I'm done with you. Oh, good Lord, and that brings up another topic. I'm done with you. I'm going to block you. And many people do. But at the same time, they say, I'm going to argue with you. I'm going to block you. Well, be done. But they want to have that one last response. Oh, let's just see what she says. Most of the women do that. Men do it too, though, sometimes. Sit and argue with each other. But when it comes down to it, oh, that person blocked me. Well, it's done. Nothing more to talk about. There's more to talk about. Yes, always more to talk about because you're always going to have the last word. And the guy jokingly said, he's like, I always had the last word with my wife and my girlfriend. I said, yes. Okay, yes. Those last words. So, yes, I'll do it. Okay. But we got to have the attitude. Be done. Close it out. Closure, they call it somewhat. Closure is important. But I should got another message up on my notes, or just keep in mind one day have a message on call it closure. I might do that. Might be interesting for next another video. But we gotta drop people. And I was thinking about earlier, it's called keyboard warriors. People behind a keyboard will say everything. And we're going to listen to it. But we don't have to. Because the odds are they're not going to come to you in person and say it. You drop them, they'll fit to all your friends. Well, but you're not listening to it. Friends are. Your friends can make their own choice. Drop that person. But your objective goal is drop that person. They're going to talk. They're going to say everything behind your back. They're already a problem. But they're not bugging you every 5 seconds. So let them be a problem to everyone else. And let everyone else handle it. You handle your own problems. Get rid of these people. Get these bad things out of your life. These old messages are all about following the Bible and doing what's right and doing good things. But getting a better life. Why do I want to tell you about how to get a better life? Well, because we need it. I'm trying to help people. Am I in it for the money? Yeah, there's a PayPal donation thing if I help you. But I'll call it tips. Anybody goes above and beyond and spend their time and trouble to help you, do something, do something at the restaurant, bring extra tea, extra coffee. You thank people with money. We talked about that in another video about bartering. We thank people with bartering too, but money's good. And that's a way of saying thank you. You helped me, and here you are. Make more of these videos. And spend your time. Go out there and do this. My time is kind of limited, so I don't have often time to make the videos, but I am called and compelled, I believe, to make the videos. And I make the videos. They're not behind a paywall. You don't have to pay for these things. There's generally not a whole bunch of commercials every 5 seconds. I think at one point it might be monetized for maybe a pop or something will come up. But I don't know. Maybe one day they'll be actually commercial. But who knows? Right now, they're free. It's all about donations. Those donations are for one that helps you. Just like the person I'd say, helps in society. Carry something in your car. Does anything to help you. This is all about, saying, you help me. This is my offerings. This is my money I offer up to you as a tip. You help me. So you continue on doing these videos, or if I don't do any more videos, you thank me for what videos I've done. Throw me a little tip. All right, well, we're so you say, well, I'm doing it for the money. Well, I'm just doing it, like I say, because I'm called to do it. When I do that, God will send the blessings His way. His way for me, to me, whatever they are. Sometimes we don't always know what the blessings are and how they get to you. Sometimes looking back, we see them. Say, oh wow, I can't believe that happened. That was a blessing. So remember that. Don't always think that God's not here for you, because a lot of times He is. You don't realize it later on in your life. All right, well, so we're going to go ahead and close this one out. And remember, the message, little girl, that song was horrible. Just remember that. Don't go, get ready to be angry with some little girl. And that's maturity level. The maturity level of a little girl. Maturity level of a little child, little boy. Even at that. And sometimes we say little girl because they are so emotional, but so are boys. All children can be emotional. You got to keep in mind these are children. These are children you're dealing with. You gotta treat them as such, but not with the attitude. You can't holler and everything else at them, be rude and mean to them. But you got to treat them like it's done. Don't spend any more time on it. They can't resolve the problem. Find somebody who can. They can't bring somebody who can resolve the problem. You're done. Move on. Otherwise, you're going to be upset. You're going to let it ruin the rest of your day. We're going to have a lot of this in the future. We have a lot of people who just don't know their job. They're short-handed. Many problems are going to come. It already exists now. So you've got to have your peace of mind. You got to start working on you, because society is kind of what it is. You got to start thinking that way. Don't do too much. Worry. Scripture I read on another message was, what does one day of worry do? This is based on worries. Too much worry. That's not helping anybody. But it's not about helping anybody. It's about helping you. So don't worry about it. And don't spend too much time, because then that creates worry. You're going to think about it. You're going to think about it when you go to bed that night. Oh, this is a horrible day. This day was horrible. Think about what would have I done different? 100 things. What I would said if I had thought, or I should have done this. I should have done this. Well, in that moment, you did what you thought was best. You can't go back. You don't want to go back. You learn from it. But you want to accept the circumstances and move on to tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day. Do something different. Maybe you can go back tomorrow and fix it. Maybe that's the message. Fix it. You need to follow that message. Go back tomorrow and fix it. But today, comes in towards night. Interesting about the story of the blind man. Jesus said, the night is coming when no one can work. You need to have the attitude. Night is coming. Let's finish the day out. Close out the day. Go watch TV. Go do something, but don't work. Mentally working is not going to help you. We're not talking physical work. I'm talking mental work. It comes right along with that whole thing. Night is coming when no one can work. You're done. The store's closed. You can't do much more about it. You can think about it, worry about it, what you're going to do tomorrow. Maybe you say, I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to talk to the manager tomorrow. I'm going to email the manager. I'm going to fill out a survey. Sometimes these surveys are interesting because they come right back straight to the manager, the same place that had the problem, which is good in a way, but in a way that's not who you want to talk to. Trying to talk to someone corporate is not always easy. There again, sometimes You do what you can, explain your situation. If nobody's willing to fix it or help you, well, then start cutting your losses. Start staying away from those places. Stay away from bad things. You know, we got fruit, something spoils, or food in the refrigerator spoils. What do? You throw it out. Or you don't eat it. You know, don't go back eating into these stores. Metaphorically thinking. Don't go back eating these stores that you don't have to. You know, you're starving to death. There's no other stores. Yeah, you may have to pick out the bad stuff of the fruit and eat it because you have no choice. But a lot of times you have a choice. But don't cause a scene because it's going to come on you. Eventually the police are going to show up. I see videos all the time. Finally the police show up, security shows up, and you go to jail. Well, I guess you feel better about yourself because you've done what's you feel is right. Thrown a fit in front of a whole bunch of people. I don't know. That's not going to help you much. I think most people on the internet would agree. You're just making a fool of yourself. So there's legality ways. There's other ways of doing it versus getting yourself in trouble. Sometimes finding an attorney is not always easy, but when you do, there's things, these class action lawsuits come along. But God says He'll take care of those people too. Don't forget about that. But don't mess up your life. Mess up your things. You get an assault charge on you, pushing people around, pushing police officers around to try to arrest you, and you're already hyped up, and you're already throwing a fit. And now you want to get that great job, that's a dream job, working in that government office, and they find that flag on your record. Oh, here's an assault. Oh, well, no, we found it. It's easy because they can find it easily now. Hell, that run you for getting that retirement and everything else. All that was years ago. Nope, it's still there. Stayed with you. So keep yourself ready to go. Keep yourself right. Trying to help you for your future. One day you might retire out of the job saying, man, I almost got an assault charge on me, but I knew it was wrong. And here I am, I retired out of this company. And I got the job because the other person had an assault charge on him. So you do what's right. You can certainly go a lot further. Make more money than that person ever did that you made you mad. Do better than that person ever did that made you mad. And that person in the past, they're gone. The assault charge could have stayed with you. I've said that before on some of these messages too. Alright, so anyway, keep that in mind. Start worrying about you and doing the right thing, and everything else will be okay.